because it takes a few minutes for them to come on.
Okay, yeah. But isn't it such a lovely spot here where it's kind of hidden down here from the actual fort? Like,
It's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, we're live, but there's no one on yet. We'll just wait a few minutes.
so,
It usually takes a couple of minutes for it to get the notifications to go through the group.
oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we've someone on.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't know who it is.
And we've got loads of midges as well. I
We
think.
have,
They're all
yeah.
coming out now with the water.
Absolutely. Okay, there's people coming in now. Hi everyone, welcome. I don't know who's here. This is Sean. Hi Sean.
Oh, yeah.
There's lovely hearts going up already, Sean. So
Very good.
we're all we're in love. Welcome, Sean.
Oh, yeah. How's it going?
I'm delighted to meet you. This is Sean Fitzgerald, everyone, and so delighted to meet Sean. I've been a great admirer of his art for so long, and I think this guy deserves all the credit and promotion as well for his art. Anyway, just to let you know where we are, we're at Grianan on Aileach. Aileach, am I saying that right, Sean? And
Stone Temple, what is it? Stone Temple of the Sun.
yeah, so that suits me perfectly, seeing as I'm coming from Barnia country.
Oh, okay.
Sean, do you know a bit about the Grianan on Aileach? You were saying that it's connected to the Dagda.
It is connected to the Dagda. Now, in archaeology, this has been here a long time, and it started off with like wooden posts here on the hill, but it's linked in then with the O'Neills, and they link it to the 11th century, but it's much more previous back to from the 11th century, and they redid it. It was a ruin in the 1800s, and then late 1800s they went in and they started adding to the top, basing it on other forts, like we'll say Stake Fort down in Kerry, and but again I've only seen, there's one picture I think I've seen, a black and white one from way back. So there was the steps. So like a lot of people would criticise it because there's mortar used on the top.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was
But
up there before you arrived.
Again, it was a long time back, so it's kind of harder to criticise.
It was in the 1800s or something. This doctor or something, he kind of did a reclamation job on it, didn't he?
Exactly,
because it was actually in ruins. But look, we have to thank him for,
absolutely,
trying to help the monument, and it is beautiful.
It is.
It has alignments as well, hasn't it? Do you know the alignments? I can't remember what.
Well, no, people align it to. So you have Baltony Stone Circle, right? So there's the green on Baltony Stone Circle would be just that way in a straight line, and then down there in the other straight line on Inch Island, there is. Well, they're like they're 10-foot high standing stones, but it's actually part of. It's like a sort of I suppose it's not a passageway, but it was an old dolmen. I'm not too sure because there's a massive fallen flat stone, so it's hard to know what it originally looked like.
Okay.
But that would be down that way, and then you have, let's say, your hilltops. Then your Tyrone is over this way, Derry's that way. There's Donegal, obviously. So I'm trying to think of the hilltops.
I'm actually going to pan around there and just show everyone the views that are up here. It's absolutely, that's Lough Foyle down there, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
And actually, if you, we're at the back of the monument at the moment, but if you're out the front, the actual view of Lough Foyle is just stunning, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
So, you really would, you'd really, kind of know why they picked these spots.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at the views they had.
When you think of Usnock and all that as well, you've all different hill points, and you have that.
Oh, sure, Uisneach is amazing.
It really is.
It's wild, isn't it? It still retains its wildness. It's beautiful. So me and Sean are sitting by this beautiful well. Do you know what's? Is it?
I don't know much about the well. No, they do. Some people would say it's linked to St. Patrick, and that's the extent of my knowledge on the well, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But I don't know what the link is with St. Patrick.
But it's a source of some river, is it? Because the water runs down this way, look, along
Yeah.
here, doesn't it?
I really don't know. It's
Okay.
kind of, I've never been big on St. Patrick, if I'm honest. But you know, those who are, fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, welcome everyone. All right, we've a fine crowd in. Who's in? Paula Snow Queen. Welcome, Paula. Laura, I have my glasses on now, so Laura Rowan. Paula, Grieg, see it, Cara, do you know?
Oh yeah.
Greg, yeah,
of course,
Greg
I
is
was only
on.
chatting to
Welcome,
him yesterday.
Sir.
Yeah.
Kelly Edmondson is on as well. She said she really loves beautiful, spectacular art. She loves your art. So, Sean, can you tell us, you're from Cork originally, aren't you?
Originally from Cork, and they say someone from Cork will always tell you they're from Cork.
Yeah.
But I've been left Cork for years. I left Cork in the 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been here now for the last 16 years. I've been in Scotland, London for short periods of time, and Dublin. But really, Cork and here were my main long stays. Like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And of course, Cork. My folks are from Kerry, so we'll say.
The Kingdom.
Of course, yeah, yeah. So growing up, that was a bit tough when it regards to sport. But
Yeah.
we'll say my whole interest in, we'll say, kind of ancient culture in Ireland would have been going up to Kerry as a young fella. You'd be kind of made to work during the summer, and you're kind of, as a teen, it would have been very boring going up to Kerry because I wasn't, I wanted to go to a city or something.
Yeah.
So I would stroll around, and there's a site in Kenmare called the Druid Circle. Now it's often very criticised because it's there's a drone above it.
We're
It's
being
often-
filmed.
Yeah, but it's often criticised because the family own it have kind of put almost like a shrubbery around the whole stone circle.
Okay.
So we'll say at the solstice, the sun, there's like a central altar type stone in the middle of the stone circle, and the sun doesn't hit it anymore because one of their trees has blocked it. So I can understand how people say it's not nice and stuff, but when I was a teenager, none of that was there. It was a wild field. So I was going for a walk one day when I was about 15 or 16, and I said I'd follow the river source into the bay. And then they say Kenmare Bay is where the Partholon would have first landed. So it's written.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So some of our first people. And so I followed the river along. No, I didn't know that at the time. I followed the river along. And, after a while when you're following a river, you're just at the edges of farms, of fields, rough ground. You can't really see people. And then I suddenly came to this clearing, and it was the stone circle. There was nothing else, just wild grass around it.
Wow.
And this.
And did you know what it
altar-type
was at the time as a child? What age were you?
Well, I was 15. I knew it was a stone
You
circle.
knew it was a
but
stone,
I was
yeah.
never aware of it,
You didn't know,
And
yeah.
to me, it was just automatically. Your imagination runs riot, doesn't it? So you
Yeah.
think of what was here before, what happened, and then it was the central stone. Like it's a big boulder type stone, but it's flat on top. And your imagination's just gone all over the
Yeah.
place. And it was just a great sense of that, we'll say, the ancient was still in the landscape.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
still here. At the time, I wouldn't have known that it was about 3,000 years old or something. But
No.
it was just, I knew there was this sense of the ancient. So, of course, I started asking my mother about it at the time, and I just became obsessed with kind of megalithic sites. And there are a lot around that area.
Yeah.
And then we'll say the following summer I invited my friends up and we all camped near it, and this was amazing. And so then because of that interest, a lot of people would say, well, you can't say Irish mythology or Celtic or Irish mythology is linked with our megalithic sites because they're far older.
Yes.
But all the stories
Exactly.
link into so many of these,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can look at it like that, but it's just, they're linked. Yes, it is pre-Celtic civilization.
Yeah.
But it's
And to be honest, when I go to the circles, or I'm on your country down in Knockaunja, Lochar, when I go into the circle, anything to do with mythology goes out of my head. There's something else takes over. It's like I always feel the ancestors there. I feel this connection, whether it was, I know the drone. The mythology doesn't really matter when you're in these places. Sure, it's not. It's just you get
It's the
this
feeling,
unbelievable connection to nature as well.
Absolutely.
So anyway, you took off to London, Sean, and
Well, I did. No, when I said I wasn't like everyone left school. When everyone left school, they went off to labour into London for a while.
yeah,
But I was there. I was working on a newspaper building site and stuff, and I can remember just a lot of the older guys I would work with were all Scottish and Irish. Would say go back and get an education.
yeah,
Now when I was 11 years old, when all my friends wanted to be kind of maybe still cowboys and things, maybe they're a bit younger when they were saying that. But I knew I wanted to do art because art. I could see my dad with kind of working very hard, coming in and sleeping on the couch, and I was like, geez, I don't want to do that. Like,
yeah.
So I thought, God, I really enjoy driving or drawing, so I could do this as a living. It seemed very simple back then.
Yeah.
So
well, you did it.
I decided, I'd apply to art college. So I went to art college eventually, and I went to Dunleary College of Fine Art.
We're glad you did.
Oh no, I became very disillusioned.
Oh,
I didn't
did
like
you?
Art college.
Really?
We were learning stuff that I wasn't interested in. A lot of it was business and selling your stuff.
Oh, right.
And I remember I got into an exhibition of it was an etching. It was an etching of a leaf, and it got into the Guinness house. The Guinness Brewery in Dublin. And I remember they were talking, this is a really big deal, and I was like, okay, this is a big deal, because I was very green. I didn't know what I was doing. And anyway, this businessman gave me a call, and he said, I want to buy your etching. I was like, okay, and I think I said £70 or something like this, and I went back to my teacher, and they were saying, this guy, he's the guy to be in. He buys all up-and-coming artists. And I was really excited. I was, oh, this is brilliant. And he said, and I said, but what does he do with them? What will happen? This? And he goes, oh, he stores them, and then he'll see whether you become well known or not.
Oh, so he's kind of like an investor type of
No
thing.
way.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He
I
was
didn't
hedging
sell
a
it to
bet
him.
on you, was he?
Yeah, he would have lost a lot of money, but it was like I didn't sell it to him. I just didn't like. I liked drawing and that, but I just didn't like the money side of it. I think it was just there's nothing wrong with it, what he was doing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But
Sorry, will I move around? Yeah.
How are you?
But it was all good, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know?
So when did you actually? At what point, Sean, that you literally then got called to that your art developed onto the art it is now? When did that happen?
Well, I left art college, and I hitched around with a friend around England, and we went to all these different, like Stonehenge had to be included.
I know, I was there as well. Amazing, isn't it? Did you do?
You see so many pictures of it, and
Did you do Avebury? Did you go to Avebury Stone Circle?
We were hitching. We didn't make it to Avebury.
Oh.
We stayed all over, just hitching up and down the country, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is what I'd like to do. And I came back to Ireland, and I would have hitched and stayed in different communes and sites, and I became even more obsessed with kind of megaliths and different types of maybe alternative living as well, of kind of growing your own food, different things like that.
Well, it's definitely when you do follow that path, you're very attached to nature anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a kind of more. Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with it, doesn't it?
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, about the planet and, you know.
But I was lucky though, because when I got into that, I went up. So I'd left the art college, and I went down to there was a sign up, and it said, anyone interested in ancient heritage, marine heritage, get in contact, wanting to start building currachs, right? So there was a guy, Pádraig O'Donnell. So I saw the number, and I gave him a ring, and went up to his house. Now they're centre city, but I landed into the house, and they're all speaking Irish, and would say their child ran into the house saying, "Oh, because." I said, "No, I do have cousins and that all in the Gaeltacht, but it was unusual in the city, and they're all Irish speakers, and there was currachs out the front, and it was just, I thought this was the coolest family I'd ever met." And I got to know Pádraig, and he had some other people interested, and we started building. There were Nave Og style currachs, like Kerry currachs.
Right.
And so we built loads of them, and Pádraig would have been very interested in kind of, in mythology, we'll say paganism, I suppose.
Yeah,
for want of a
yeah.
better word. And so he'd chat openly. You know, he would have been a lot older than me. Like I would have maybe only 19.
It's amazing when you're on a path you meet the right people, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And they kind of they help you, and they, you know, you actually when you decide on a path, you meet the people. They just appear, don't they? It's just amazing. I love that.
Almost like, oh, that was meant to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But Pádraig was brilliant, and like Pádraig, he used to have his own TV show for a while. Do you remember the guy with the big beard and he go around with the Corricks around Ireland? I can't remember the name of the show. It was on TG Carr.
Really?
Yeah, maybe.
I must look that up.
It stopped. I think it finished only about maybe 4 years ago. But
okay.
Lovely guy, gentleman.
Yeah.
And he would always give great advice and encouragement. So with him, I started drawing bits from mythology and bits of, we'll say, the coracles, which would have been the old skin boats.
Yes.
Would have been an animal hide on a like hazel type wicker
frame. Yeah.
So we made some. Well, we tried with the first one we did that. We said we didn't want to skin an animal, and I should mention I'm a veggie, and vegans always tell you they're vegans, kind of thing. But anyway,
yeah.
So we said at the time that all the this is like 1991, 92 maybe. So a lot of the charity shops were kind of stopping selling fur, and so we went around and we got a load of the old fur coats. And we tied them together and we tried to tar them. Oh, it was an absolute mess. It didn't work. And then we just got heavy duty cotton, like you would on the traditional Corricks, and we tarred it. And so that's what we used, and it was fantastic. And I all my drawings from them got stolen. We did this big exhibition, and I had this massive painting of people in Corricks.
Just to stop you there. So, hello, Sean and Margaret. Good to see and hear both of you. Great that you're on, Tom, because he said to me earlier on, oh, I'm going to make sure I'll be watching this, because Tom is a great admirer of your art as well.
Oh, likewise. Well, will I tell you the first time I met Tom?
Oh, do.
I know we're kind of jumping the gun a bit, but so I went to, the book that I released. It was released at the Fleadh Cheoil, right? And we're in the hall in Drogheda, and Tom messaged me on Instagram. He said, I really want to get to talk to you. And you're kind of going, who's this fella? Like, or anything like this? And he landed in, and there was a group of us there for the launch. And he came in, and he had this beautiful piece. It was a triskel, right?
Yes.
So you have the triskel here, and there was a
there
bar
you go. I've got mine. Yes. I've got it on. I've got a Tom King.
A Tom King original.
Yeah.
And he had 3 oak trees. So there was an oak here and an oak here in a tub. And he handed it to me, and my jaw nearly dropped, and he said, my children collected these acorns on Tara, and we planted them, and here, and you're just, I'll never forget it.
I know.
And there was people coming up going, who's that guy? And he went out and he brought in some other the oak trees for some of the other people there.
Yeah.
And you're just going, oh,
well, when I met Tom first, I mean, I pulled into his place where he does the foraging, you know, and I thought the dog that was coming towards me, honest to God, he had to look like that. I mean, he's amazing. Tom is amazing. Absolutely. He's such a, he's full of life and full of the joys of spring as I say, and he's so passionate about what he does.
It was the passion comes through.
The passion, absolutely. You couldn't but love foraging after Tom, you know what I mean? You've no other choice.
I love to see what he's doing next now, you know.
Yeah. Well, as you know, he made Anya for me, and
stunning.
And Tom enjoyed making it because it was the first time he really had to do something so intricate, and he wanted to get the feel of her, and honest to God, he made such an amazing job of it. I mean, I'm absolutely delighted with the piece. Beautiful. It's absolutely. And Tom, and what I loved about Tom was he works with you. He's showing you photographs as he's forging it, which is amazing. Like, he's in contact with you, and you were involved in the making of it, so it was fantastic now, and we have to give hats up to him. But anyway, getting back to it now, he'll be delighted now he got that mention. What he said, broke the speed limit to get home to see it. Well, I'm glad you arrived in one piece, Tom. So anyway, getting back to yourself, Sean, so it was meeting Pádraig really that
pushed it,
yeah, that you really got, that was it, that was the turning point, and then your art took off from there.
Oh yeah, well he gave me great encouragement.
Yeah.
So we'd said I left disillusioned, and I thought maybe I was more into kind of craft and I don't know. I messed around with bits of wooden carving, things like that, but everything was getting a bit Celtic. But then all my friends were getting jobs, and what I was doing just wouldn't pay.
I know.
So I went back to college. I went back up to Dublin. I did classical animation in Ballyfermot, and again, it was all aimed towards kind of basically you go to America and you work for Disney or all this, and it didn't appeal to me.
No.
You know, it didn't appeal to me. So I became even more disillusioned with it, and I said I wanted to do something worthwhile.
Mm.
So,
Well, I think, Sean, you were trying to find your way, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
right.
that's you know, and then you do find your way eventually.
And you have to go through these steps.
You do,
maybe
yeah.
For it to occur.
Exactly, you have to do all the steps, and then But I mean, what I love about you is that you followed your heart and you kept true to your passion.
Thanks,
so that's
yeah.
so I love that in you. So you've brought some art with you.
I did, yeah. So I'm trying to think. I
Oh,
could start with older stuff or newer
Well,
stuff.
let's what about your journal that's just come out? I bought it in Tara from Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the launch the other night, didn't you, Sean?
We did on Zoom, and it was great crack. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Everyone
Sorry, I
who's-
couldn't make it. I had my own. I was talking about the Serpent
I
of the
know
Goddess
you were,
book.
yeah. I was, like, oh, geez,
I was
should
saying,
send her-
oh no, we'll have to coordinate our launch,
time.
our thing on
Next time.
future.
But yeah, this is Lucy, who does Wild Awake.
Yeah, I
She
love her
does-
page. Yeah.
she's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. She contacted me about doing the zine, and that it would be like about foraging, kind of growing, mythology, things like that. And we eventually listed it all on the top. It's like the Journal of Irish Foraging, Folklore, Myths, Magic and Remedies.
It's
so we thought
beautiful.
it kind of captured it a bit. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So we got everyone on that Zoom launch the other night. It was just people who'd contributed. So there's some. It's 10% of the money is going to the Irish Travellers Counselling Service.
Yeah,
So we had Thomas on from them.
great.
So it's very. I'm learning. I'm like an apprentice herbalist with the plant medicine school.
Yes.
And in Wexford. So a lot of the stuff is a lot of the things I've been writing about.
Are you nearly finished your course, Sean, or is it?
Well, I'm planning to be a community herbalist.
Yeah.
So I have a year left to do. If I wanted to do
Great.
a clinical, it'd be another 3 years.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So some of it is just my writing from that, and various drawings. Of course, Mary Reynolds as well. You know. it was
What
kind
does
of people
does Mary do? She's what?
Mary was. She won the Chelsea Flower Show years ago in the 90s.
Right.
Was it the
Okay.
90s? Yeah. Must be. I can't remember the year, but a while back. And like normally, if you go into that show, like it's all Prince Charles, and you're all fine, have big backers and stuff. But she went there with a wild Irish garden.
Can we
there's
just
a very famous dog?
Can
next
we,
to us
yes,
here.
there's a famous celebrity after
Oh,
joining us.
celebrity, okay.
Can you introduce
This is Iggy, the most famous dog in Donegal.
Iggy?
Yeah.
You have been so many places. You've been more places than me. And she loves mountaintops and posing for, and now getting on live feeds.
Yeah.
So
she
she's
saw the camera and probably came down maybe.
and this is
And this is James. James is normally hiding behind the scenes around with
Hi
Iggy.
James. You've been revealed now.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the page again?
Of which?
It's
James O'Donnell Photography. Am I right, James?
Yes, thank you, James.
Yeah.
Photography.
James, lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Aye.
And I love your sidekick.
Cool, that's Ignatius.
He goes hiking all over Donegal and now throughout Ireland, really.
Yeah.
Various hilltops and mountainsides.
I have another photographer friend, Liam McNamara, and he's got Belle. And
Okay.
she's the same. She's just wild in the mountains she goes everywhere with him as well. You know what I
Lovely,
mean?
yeah.
So she's a great companion. James, it's great to meet you. Yeah. And
All
thanks for joining in, Ziggy. Oh, she's coming back again. She's taking a final bow. Well done, on cue.
Anyway, what were we saying? Mary.
Oh, Mary,
has,
yes.
right? But anyway, what she does now is she. I introduced this a nature guardian. So she is basically about wild gardens and wild nature.
Oh, I love
and
that.
Kind of reclaiming back a kind of a more native.
I love that.
Garden, we'll say.
Yeah. There was a lady actually in England a few years ago, and she went to all the In Bloom competition, and she wanted wild gardens to be, wild gardens to be included in the bloom competition.
Brilliant.
So for the bees, so important. And she actually got her way, and it's now in the bloom competition every year.
Wow!
So lovely to see Mary as well.
It's We Are an Ark is the page, and it's on Facebook as well.
Oh, I must join her.
People put up pictures of their gardens, what they're doing, and things like that.
It's just encouragement to be more aware of our planet, I suppose. Yeah. And looking after the bees. There's plenty of bees up here actually. The minute I got out, because I'm thinking they're loving the heather.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It is nice, isn't it?
And they love the heather.
What do the midges like? Is it the whatever the? But yeah,
I know. I'm sitting here as well, but I'm trying to not.
You're good. Yeah, you're not moving at all.
Yeah.
Every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the journey really. There's various bits of sketching that I would do of like I'd start studying a plant, and we'd have been like I'd try and link it in with mythology and folklore, things like that.
Yeah, excellent.
So I kind of would say in the back when now I've chickweed, and I noticed that chickweed loves being in the sun, so I started thinking of the goddess Grianan. So I've kind of just little things like that. And then
excellent.
I also want a bit of humour, so I have them jumping into the water by Newgrange, and then I've hemorrhoids written by their butt. So, yeah.
Is it good for that?
Oh, it is. Yeah. There you go. That's what the whole interview has turned into. It's good for hemorrhoids. So yeah, but that's came out recently, and yeah, so very proud of that.
Yeah. I love it as well. I have it at home. And how many will there be more coming out of this?
There will be. It's actually selling really well, and we're kind of going, should we get more printed? So we are getting more printed because we weren't like by the launch. We were suddenly down to like about 100 of them, so we're like, okay, we better get more done. It's all new to us as well now, Lucy and myself. So
great. Well, I'm delighted to hear that. So and do you think you'll bring out a different journal every year and update it? Yeah.
It's a lot of time, as you know.
But it's worth it.
It is.
Because you're giving something back. Then your knowledge and and making people aware, and that's really, that's a good thing too.
It is, and again, no, when I say it's Lucy and myself, it's various different writers.
Yeah.
So it's very much it's like there's sometimes.
I'm sure if this successful, you'll have writers, queuing up to be in the next one.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And
there you go.
Get in contact if you want to submit anything.
Definitely.
So that's the more recent thing.
Yeah. Now your book,
the book.
I love.
I feel like I'm just like a
no.
advertisement here. But
no, we're talking about your art. It's all about you today, Sean. I have that as well.
Yeah, and thank you, Margaret. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
So this is years and years. This is like 10 years work really of. We'll say I got really into the story of Balor and Lou. About 10 years, like obviously, like if you grew up in Ireland in the 80s and stuff, you knew Jim Fitzpatrick and you knew his drawings of Lou, and like
they're stunning, aren't they?
They were Jim Fitzpatrick's, and they're amazing, and he's a huge influence.
Yeah.
And even when I went into art college, I was warned before the interview saying, when they ask you who your favourite artist is, don't say Jim Fitzpatrick. That's illustration, not fine art. Okay. So
you're joking.
Been warned not to say Jim Fitzpatrick.
Oh my God! And it's like this type of art is so alive; it jumps out at you. Oh, it literally nearly talks to you. So I don't agree with that.
I don't know,
but even yours,
still a great artist,
even yours as well. You know what I mean?
Oh,
to be said it's just an illustration. My God, I love that type of art.
Yeah.
I love it. It jumps out at you.
Well,
talks to you.
I should say now when I say Jim Fitzpatrick, I should also mention Courtney Davis.
Courtney as well. Yeah. Amazing.
So,
I have some of his prints. He is lovely Anya prints, which I got. I'd love the original,
but since he's been on Tara, is some of my favourite work that he's done. I know he's been on it a long time. Since 1977.
And it's so lovely to have an artist at the site.
Yeah,
it's lovely. I just call in. I mightn't buy anything every time. I just want to call in to get because I love the art, And
he's a lovely guy, and he'll always have time for everybody.
He does. He chats to everyone. Yeah. I really like him. Yeah.
For me, like he became a huge influence, if I'm honest, because.
Well, he's encouraged you as well, hasn't he?
It was the encouragement as well. A friend of mine, Amanda Healy, she's a tarot reader in
I know him. Yeah. I had a reading from her. She's brilliant. Yeah.
And she was the one really who introduced me to Courtney and all that.
Yeah.
And he took me under his wing really and encouraged the whole thing, and he brought me down. And we were kind of like my day job would be working on a farm. I'd be like, it's a community-run farm.
Yes.
And I'd be like a manual labourer on a community organic, like a vegetable farm.
You're blessed.
Oh yeah, I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, you're
That's the
blessed.
both words.
I'd love to be getting up now, because I mean, when I was a kid, we had a farm, and I was up every morning down. I'd bring the cows in for my father, and I loved this time of the year because you take the buckets down with you and get the mushrooms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we'd an egg cooker then, and we'd have a big pot of mushrooms after the cows were milked. Oh my God, I'd love to have it.
And what a great memory to have.
Oh, I had a great childhood. Yeah, I was running wild around the fields.
So you were kind of outside of Limerick City then, were you?
Yeah, Bruff. So I'm very near Knockon. Yeah.
That sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
So were you looking up getting your mushrooms up at the hill?
Oh, sure, yeah. You could see, I could see her hill from our farm. So
Lovely.
I grew up with Anya. So I know what you mean. You're blessed. I loved my childhood, honestly. I loved it, yeah. At the time I didn't, but now looking back, I had a great grounding.
Yeah, but I suppose it is, you look at a lot of these things in hindsight, don't you?
Yeah.
Kind of reflection.
Oh, I had a great childhood. I love it. I'm glad I did have the childhood I had, yeah. But anyway, sorry, interrupted you there.
What were we saying? Courtney. Oh yeah,
Courtney
put me up. He put me up for 4 days, and it was amazing because you get into your own little zone and your own world when you're drawing, and you don't really talk about what you're doing or how do I not join the knots there in the corner. So for me, it was amazing to talk to Courtney, and he'd bring out these old drawings, and you're touching them like it's an ancient manuscript.
I know.
And they're from like the 70s or late 70s. And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, how did you get that? And he was giving me all these tips, and it was just like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like meeting one of these old monks doing their insular art, and they're like, well, this is how you do this. And yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
Absolutely brilliant.
And you know what? When you're so passionate about your art, the artist who was giving you the encouragement, like Courtney, they love to tell you because they can see the enthusiasm in you. You know what I mean?
I suppose like
Yeah.
anytime we talk, the conversation would just go to drawing, or he'd be like,
That's it.
He'd
Yeah.
be like, what are you drawing on?
Yeah.
What are you working on? You know?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
and again, it was lovely even having his name connected on the book, and he did the introduction. And
Yeah, I
what
read
more
it. It
could
was
I ask for?
beautiful. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
So I've been absolutely, I've
so
been very
great.
lucky with the book. I really
Yes.
have.
So
But I should open it up, I suppose.
yeah.
So oh yeah, well, it started 10 years ago. My father died, and I started. It was like most people, most families have all experienced cancer and stuff. So it was just a shock. It was like getting a death sentence from my father. That it's like you have 6 months, and so for us as a family, it was very, very tough. And I found my way to deal with a lot of it would be I'd be going for walks with my father, and then when he passed, I'd go for huge long walks. So I would go on, like I've always liked hiking, and kind of there's like 7 mountains. Like my house is surrounded by 7 mountains in Fulcara.
The Seven Sisters.
Seven
is it?
Sisters,
Oh
yeah.
That is just.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah.
Unreal. Yeah. Beautiful.
So that became really my kind of just for kind of well-being. But when you're on the Seven Sisters, when you walk in these mountains, in the distance you always see Tory Island, and Tory Island's always looking at you, and you always think, like what we were saying earlier about going to these megalithic sites, you kind of your imagination goes, and you kind of get that feeling of like, what was it like here, or what, you're kind of walking the footsteps of your
That's
ancestors.
how I always feel when I walk into them. I'm going, wow, what were they doing when they came in here? Like, am I standing on a spot here now where they were, like, they could have been thrashing wheat? Or honestly, my imagination goes elsewhere. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, looking at Tory, you can't, like, Tory has a real presence. It's like you're kind of going, why? Like, there's certain points on these mountains. There it is in the distance. So I started going into place names and things. So there's an area, James has taken a picture of it. It's like an open cave called the Giant's Eye, and it looks out from the mainland towards
Oh
Tory.
Yes, I've seen photographs of that before. Yeah, it's amazing.
I've been just advertising James though, but have a
Yeah,
look at these
no.
photos.
He's an amazing photographer, and I love his dog.
But it gets you interested in the landscape and what happened there previously. So then you think of Ballard the Evil Eye. Okay, there's the Giant's Eye cave looking over here. And of course the landscape all around there. You would have various sites dedicated to Luv Lavada. So you have like right by my house, there's a mound, which would be originally it would be Lou's Mound, but the name's changed once Christianity came in. A lot
Yes.
of that went, you know.
I know.
But anyway, it got me obsessed. So I made up a map of the local area, and I was trying to get the older names
Yeah.
and just kind of putting what was where. And at the time I was volunteering down in the local community hall, and I hung it up on the wall and it got nicked. And it's like, geez, that's a very good sign. So then
That'd be
people
worth a
started
fortune now.
Oh yeah, sure. That collector, maybe all those.
The collector's item.
But then what happened was, local people said had seen the drawing. So there was a woman, Kathleen Gallagher, and she saw the drawings and she wanted to do a festival celebrating. That's the festival. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
2013. So there was a group of us all got together in the end, but it was Kathleen's idea, and it was and Kathleen did most of the work, I should say. So we did this Evil Eye Festival, celebrating the mythology of the local area.
Yes.
Now that, people go, God, Sean, that looks very phallic.
And
I'm just drawing what I see, right? That's a big stone, right? So
yeah.
there's this stone here, it's a big, massive quartz stone. And like it's put up on this, I suppose, concrete stand because it said that Balor would have cut Lou Lawfather's father's head off on the top of this stone. And on the top of this stone there's like a rust that flows down it, and they'd say that's the blood of when he severed
Oh yes,
Lou's
I've
father's
read
head.
that before. Yeah, yeah.
So it was just a celebration.
And that was Nuada, was it? No, not Nuada. Who was his dad?
Now in local folklore where I am, it's Cian McAneely.
Okay.
Whereas like it
Yes.
moves, yeah.
Yes,
But like
you're
we'd say
right,
also
because
in local folklore it's like
that's right,
Lou
because they
would
call
have
the dog
killed-
up here as Ucka, Uckad, or Uckad, Ucka, or Uckad, something like that.
well here there's a Poison Glen, which would be over that direction.
Yeah.
That's where in local folklore that Lou would have killed Balor, not down Mytura.
So down there.
Yeah,
Wow.
and there's all these different little. It's a lovely. We'll say everything is very. So then the whole tale is very surrounded that local area, and then the local area is called Cloughaneely, which is Cian head of Cian McAneely.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's the
yeah.
connection.
So it's very linked. So we did that for a couple of
And
couple of years.
And are you? Oh, that I love this.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So the idea then was that everyone would be kind of running around this stone that represented, I suppose our ancient past.
Are your prints available, Sean? To purchase?
These posters were nicked all over town before the festival. So I don't sell any of these, but I do have prints available. I have a big cartel shop.
Okay.
So yeah, that's on. I have it linked on my Facebook and I have an Instagram, and it's all one word, just Sean Fitzgerald Art.
Yeah. What I loved about when I got your book, the Mytura book,
Yeah.
that you had a beautiful, you had a lovely, the Wheel of the Year.
Oh yeah.
In the book as well. I loved that, and I actually framed those.
Did you?
Yes. Have you got it there?
I have a big one of it. This one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
become very popular.
I love that. So I framed that as well, and thanks
Oh,
very
thanks.
much. It was lovely to get it with your book.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lovely extra with the Ogham,
Brilliant.
the Aum as well, alphabet on it as well.
Well, a lot of people would say, "Oh, but Sean, you shouldn't be putting in the dates of the year around this." So I have a big sheet with it explaining, look, this
Yes.
is lunar and it's whatever, but it's like,
Yeah, and
I
they
just
can't
thought it was nice to have the dates that are
exactly
they're rough dates.
roughly
you know?
around those dates. Exactly. I mean, some of them change, but you'd have to check every year what date the actual festival is.
There's a woman got in contact with me and she goes, could I get permission to tattoo that on my arm? And I said, of course, tattoo it away. And she said, and it's huge. It takes up the whole top of her arm.
Oh
and,
my word!
She
Fantastic.
said she loves that people will ask,
Yeah.
who's that now?
I
Who's
love
this?
the spiral in around there where, on the sacral chakra. I love it.
Oh no, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. It's just a beautiful. She's gorgeous, isn't she?
I always liked doing the characters with antlers
Yeah.
and horns. It was just, there was a book and it was about the devil, and they were saying that the devil would have been an angel, and so that this look of the devil being a horned being came from you shouldn't be worshipping horned figures.
Yes.
So I just became obsessed. No, it looks cool as well, but it's like I became very obsessed with having these horned figures because it was like these are the ones we were told to be against. Like, I read.
I love that you have a female, the goddess, in the middle of this. So, the land is related to the sovereign goddess, isn't it? The female energy.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely. Agree.
Yeah, lovely.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful, and the artwork around it, and you've got her up here as well, either side of the Celtic year.
Well, I'll tell you what's going on there. I became, with a lot of the knotwork, you'd go in threes, so the three comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And even in stories of our healers, there's Danchuk, there's Mayok, there's Aravid or Ermid.
Yeah.
It's three. You'd have like when Lou was being thrown into the water, there was the three babies.
Yeah.
There's our triple spiral.
Yeah.
Okay, pre-Celtic.
Yeah.
People, and the stuff like that. So that's why.
Well, you have the seasons of your life too: the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So it's the three seasons of your life.
Oh, I get you. Okay, lovely.
As well, do you know? It's our life, isn't it? So the crone is the final stage of your physical life here.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Do you like that?
Say that again.
The maiden.
Yeah.
The mother, and then the mother becomes the crone. She becomes the wise one.
That's nice. Okay,
yeah. So you've got three stages, three spirals in your life. And I presume by the time you get to the crone, hopefully you've learned a bit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I hope so anyway. I think the child is still within me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, likewise. But it's hopefully it is in us all, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a wise child now instead of being a wild child.
Yeah.
So what else have you there, Sean?
Here's the next one.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
No, it was done again. You can notice the three.
Yeah. Oh my word!
I was very bullied. Okay, and very bullied, and it was kind of. I liked the idea of just, or what got to me was when I was bullied of like, why don't we stick up for each other? Why if you see someone being bullied, or someone doing whatever slur to anybody, be it like bigotry or racism, whatever it is, why don't we do something about it and stick up for each other? So this became a big sense. So I really wanted to just join in kind of warriors together into this triple knot to represent of like coming together and sticking up for each other. And that's the whole idea behind the drawing.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's no ideas behind it. It can be just simple knot work and trying to be kind of a nice image.
Yeah.
But then there's some that really, you kind of know, I really want to do this. And I've had a lot of people writing to me about this and have told me about bullying and things like this and what it represented. And
there's no need for it.
Yeah, and just like, we should really be, I don't know, just...
loving.
Yeah, and a bit more kind of in solidarity of each other.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's kind of the idea behind that.
Well, it's nice that you shared that with us, Sean, the meaning behind that. It's beautiful, I love it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And the trestle then in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Another one then is, I had a book before this with two friends. There's the Irish poet Cathal Sharkey and a friend of mine, Sean O'Gean. And the book was Lou Nabua.
Okay.
And Lou Nabua, Lou the Deliverer. And in the front of that book, we had Lou, and it was this. Lou had his sword. He's up on a horse.
Oh yes, your sword is amazing.
And, oh no, thanks. Yeah.
Tom King is after that sword. Actually, he said to me, "I love that." Yes. Do you hear that, Tom King?
Yeah.
No,
he has to make
you've got the permission there to make the sword now. So there you go, off you go now, Tom. You'll be in the forge now for the next 6 months.
But anyway, that book, it was like, I just thought it was a bit too male, and so for this book, for the cover of my book, I wanted to have the Morrigan.
I love for the Morrigan.
I'm always afraid of becoming like a fantasy artist, so we'll say I have nudes, but I don't find them sort of I don't find them as they're not meant to be sexual, really,
No.
So I wanted to do the Morrigan as I saw her, to be honest with you, and I wanted her, you know, you have these drawings of heroic heroes going into battle, normally male, and they're going in and they're winning the battle, whereas I decided I would have the aftermath of a battle, and it's a very kind of sullen scene, and I've more of the Morrigan, who was always kind of thought played down a bit with the Moitura battle. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to represent her in front of the battle, and it was kind of like someone was saying you should. A friend of mine was saying you should really hit the tourist market with this book. You should have something a bit more upbeat and maybe just a Celtic pattern for the front. And I was like, no, this is what I want for the front of the book.
No, you have to
But it
follow
looks
your
very
heart.
sinister.
No, you have to follow your heart, John. Absolutely, she's beautiful.
So thank you. So that's the reason behind it. I wanted it to be a bit more of a female energy, I suppose, of the cover, you know.
And I love the fact that you gave her blonde hair rather than making her dark. You know, a lot you see the Morrigan and she's got black hair and she's black and.
Well, I think they kind of I think she's confused a lot with is it Morgan Le Fay? I wouldn't be too up on any of those now, but it is that more gothic-y kind of thing. But yeah, definitely I don't know. I did want to get a bit away from that. If I'm honest.
And I mean, I love, like, she's crow is her energy, isn't it? You know, and I love the crows. They're just amazing. The crows in nature are amazing.
Yeah,
they live in a beautiful family of sisters and brothers and mothers, and you know, so they have a great community. The crows. We take a leaf out of their book to live like them. You know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, the moods.
I know, I'm the same. I'm suffering it here.
I'm trying to think what else I'll show you. Actually, since it's there, this is Maeve. Now, when I put that up first, someone was saying, like, well, why are they naked? And the reason they're naked is how Maeve died. A lot of people are kind of against Maeve because we all love Cuchulainn. But I always found Maeve very fascinating, you know, because she was a ferocious warrior.
Yeah.
They were always on about her beauty as well. So I was trying to make pretty, but the reason she's naked is when they wanted to kill her, they were so frightened of her, they waited until she was bathing. And then a guy, you can't really see there, but there's two eyes, sinister eyes hidden there in the background.
Oh, I do, I see him, look at him.
So
he's peeping off from him.
3 days, was it 10 metres away from where she'd bathed, hidden, and 3 days they practiced, we're back to 3 again, to hit her from 10 metres. So that's it, that's why she had no sword, no shield, nothing like this, and that's the only way they'd kill her. And then to really insult her, then they'd say she was killed by a block of cheese, that it was a hard block of cheese. And to me, that's just like, she's dead now we're going to insult her. You know, that's my opinion. You know, I'm sure people would say, no, look, you're wrong.
I think she's far more...
Yeah, so I thought she's, you know, there was a lot more to her.
I love her eyes. Yeah. She really is looking at you, isn't she?
Thank you.
Yeah, you captured her eyes there, it's beautiful.
Well, there are other, like, I have, there are other stuff that actually isn't.
So this is...
Like you'd probably recognise that.
Oh, that's amazing. I think a load of people would want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was trying to get...
So many photographs of it, but to have a piece of art of it is nicer.
Well, you know what I love? The photographs I love are the old black and white ones.
Yeah.
Do you know where the grass is?
Which is like captured there, isn't it?
I was trying to do that.
Yeah. And the spirals and everything. Isn't it amazing, the art they left us all the same?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I mean, now that we're educated, we know that energy moves in a spiral.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, did our ancestors know this as well? Like, you know...
It's hard to... But even the
were they so connected that they knew this energy moved like this?
Yeah.
You know?
Have you seen the one, there was a university in Newgrange and they were checking up, like, is it somatics, the sound? And they're on about the rings linked... I don't know too much about it, but I thought it was fascinating.
The same in Stonehenge, sure. They're constantly researching about the sound in Stonehenge, playing the stones, having echoes of the stones, and I think eventually they're going to find as well.
But it's nice to have the mystery too.
Absolutely.
Now this is away a bit from mythology. So I started drawing. This is, well, a lot of people would know her as the All Witch.
The Aileach. Is this the Aileach?
No.
No?
It's actually a true story. It's nothing to do with mythology, but it's the treatment of women back then.
Oh.
So this woman in Youghal, she would have went up to a house begging for food. And it's kind of, I'm jumping a bit from mythology, but
No,
I'll go
that's
back
fine.
to mythology. So we'll say she went up to the house begging for food, and she was a bit forward, we'll say. She tried to get in the door, and the maid who was talking to her at the door shoved at the door, we've nothing. And the following day, the maid was down at the well, and this Youghal woman went up and apologised for being so forward. And I imagine she was so forward is because she was starving, So what she said was, for I bear thee no ill will, and I pray thee do thou bear me none, and it goes on. But anyway, so afterwards that maid went into the house, and the landlord fancied themselves as a bit of a witch finder, right? So they said what happened that maid when they went into the house was the Bible was opening on certain pages, horse nails were falling from the ceiling, straw, I've tried to include most of them, and that this woman had cursed her. Sorry, she kissed her on the cheek when she said these words, and that she'd cursed her. So this poor woman went into prison, and she had to say, they said if you could say the Lord's Prayer, you could, you're not a witch, the full prayer. Whereas, like, this woman wouldn't know the Lord's Prayer in English, or, so one of the prison guards, now this is, according to the story, you wouldn't know what happened to her.
Yeah.
The prison guard started teaching her the Lord's Prayer, and then the prison guard died. Yeah. So she was tortured, but yeah, she goes down as the Witch of Youghal. And I thought it was such a sad story. So I kind of wanted to represent, we'll say, different women who've been tortured and labelled witches. So that's the...
And the thing is about the witches, they were the healer women.
Well, you see, I'd love to do one of Biddy Early, because that's a lovely story.
Absolutely. They were the healer women.
Church, she was so, in Cork, because she was so good. Like,
the old remedies and things like that. They were the healer women.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were just, a lot of them were burnt, and
it's awful. Like,
it's just terrible. Yeah. So, actually, I did the book club the other night about the serpent and the goddess, and how the Christian churches suppressed the feminine energy. And to be honest with you, it did a disservice even to men, right, to depress the feminine energy. Because if we look around us in nature, it's totally feminine.
Oh yeah,
it's all feminine. So. We need to make more awareness about the feminine energy now. Yeah, absolutely.
How you doing?
Hello. So, I think you've one more there, Sean, have you?
Well, I've a few. I can do this one. Now, this is based on a George Bain piece. So George Bain, he was a Canadian who went over and he started studying a lot of the stones in...
Oh yeah, that's on your page, isn't it?
Is,
yeah. I shared it there earlier on.
It's a popular one.
Yeah, I love it.
But I just changed around the characters slightly. I like George Bain. He did this book, it's the 50s or 60s, called Construction of Celtic Art, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic. I said, right, I'm gonna kind of like a tribute to him. I don't know anything about the rest of his life, but he's a great artist.
I love the way they're sitting.
Yeah.
It's very Egyptian.
Yeah.
Did you think
the heads?
Yeah, but with the way they're sitting, the way you ever see the hieroglyphs, the way the Egyptians sit, they kind of sit intertwined with their legs.
Okay,
yeah. It's amazing you picked up on that. I love it.
No, thank you.
And are they drinking from 2 cups?
They are.
And they're intertwined.
Normally you'd have a thing in Celtic art, the beard pullers, and they'd be doing the beards.
Yes.
So I just said, I know I have also versions of the beard pullers, but I just liked that I'd kind of like, I like doing some characters that you're not too sure what their gender is, but I said, okay, this could be, you could see this as female, male, or whatever.
I like
it.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then there's this one, this is Bav, another nude. So yeah, I always like that with the Morrigan and stuff. And again, back to the Moitura battle.
Yes.
I like the idea of the crow, and of course the crow's got great kind of, I don't know, crows just look great too, don't they?
They do. They're amazing.
So,
I love them.
Yeah. So I mixed that in. Again, it's kind of, it was meant to be just a drawing for the book, and then people going, God, you have to sell that as a print. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that kind of...
I love the spear.
Oh no, thanks.
Yeah, I love the spear.
Again, it's another really popular one from the drawings. I was trying to include little crows all over the place. I went a bit overboard maybe on the crows, but
No, it's amazing. Your knotwork is just incredible, and I love the birds coming through on the knotwork there. Wow.
Again,
It's so like you when you look at your art, you'd look at it first, but then you go really look at it, and there's so much going on. You don't know where to look next. Oh my God, look at that! So yeah.
oh, thank you.
Just incredible, Sean.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's like I brought down just the kind of main stuff I have at the moment.
Yeah.
There's another Morrigan, as you can imagine. I'm a bit of a fan of the Morrigan. Again, another kind of very serious looking face.
She is, isn't she?
But I thought, the Morrigan is a serious character,
Well, she's the dark side of us.
Yeah.
And, we all have it.
Yeah.
That dark side, and it needs to be honoured as well, our dark side. Because if we don't have our dark side, it teaches us to elevate it and come up into the light.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other, really.
Exactly. You can't have the light without the dark.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't have the stars shining at night without the night.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. Absolutely stunning, Sean. Your
Thank you.
art is amazing.
Oh, I've an older one here.
Oh,
Since we were last kind of... That's the flag, Kyo, from
and who's this?
2014. They just said, could you do something Irishy? So I said, okay, someone playing the fiddle. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. But again,
You'll have to try something with a harp next time.
yeah,
Wouldn't it? I mean, you could have an intricate harp.
Harp would have been a good one.
Yeah. Oh, sure, you
There's
might.
one last one, I suppose, that I could show. And there's this one. Again, I was trying to pick out things from the winter solstice. So I was picking a holly and different things like that in the oak. And then I like the way the stag always seemed to be very important in regards to kind of, I suppose, ritual and kind of these things, so in gatherings. So I was trying to just combine everything together. So it was kind of like, you're kind of going, right, list what you think. So I just thought of the winter solstice and I thought, list what you think. And so I just kind of joined them all together.
It's
and
beautiful.
just saw what happened.
I was at Equinox in Stonehenge.
Yeah.
And the druids arrived, the head druid, and then following, he led the procession up into the henge, and behind them then was all the drummers, but with the stags' heads coming.
Oh, brilliant.
Honestly, I said, oh my God, I'm in my element. I got up to meet the ancestors. It was the hairs on my arms were like electric. It was the drumming. There was maybe 100 guys with the stags' heads following the main druid going up into Stonehenge. It was just amazing, and I loved what he said. The head druid. Yeah. The gratefulness to the land. It was all about the gratefulness to the land.
Excellent.
And what it had given us over the summer. So it was beautiful, yeah. So that just referring to the stags' heads there, the antlers and everything.
Were you down at Usnuk for the fire festival?
Pardon?
Were you at Usnuk for the fire festival?
No, I've never gone. I loved what they did with the lockdown.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
And they set fires, and it was all in a heart, and I loved that it went all over the world. It sent out a really beautiful message from Ireland to the rest of the world. I thought it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely. I cried. I thought, oh my God, I'm so proud of
I'd say
Ireland.
a lot of people did.
Yeah, it was very emotional. Absolutely.
But I can't wait to get down to Usnuk again, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they're back open anyway now, so it's great. Yeah,
Okay, are they open?
they're back
Brilliant.
open. Yeah. And they're having tours there again, but I think you have to order your ticket and just let them know you're coming.
Yeah.
But it is back open again, thank God. It is a beautiful place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I went down I think it was, what's his name, John Creedon was doing his show for TV, and they were all kind of coming up, and it was just the look. It was so well put together, like.
Yeah.
And you could see all the trescles coming up in flames.
Yeah. Oh, the actual festival the year before. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen photographs and videos of it. My God, it's just amazing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've a great ancestral heritage,
We do.
and to see that, you know, being played out, and you know, it is amazing for the country.
It is.
You know, it's our roots, isn't it? It's where we came from. Yeah, it's in our bones, as I always say.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the last
that's
one.
it.
Really, you know.
Well, Sean,
We'll get the dagged in, will we? Since the Grianan's up there. If I can find it now. There's the dagda. The dagda next to the Grianan, maybe.
excellent. So there you go.
I shouldn't get too close. Sorry.
No,
Mum.
you're fine. So that's the Dogda, yeah.
Yeah.
So just an honour to him. So it's connected to there, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So the dagda, as far as I know, the dagda in our mythology built the Grianan to honour his son E, who got murdered. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's right. So Sean, thank you so much.
Carmichael.
And it was an honour to meet you. And
you too, Margaret.
yeah, thank you so much. And I wish you lots of love and grow for your art, and you keep going, and love that you're doing the herbal course. You're an example of, you know, I suppose how we should be in awareness of our beautiful island, Eru. You know, I'm going to cry now. Sitting in this beautiful, I mean, look at the view. You know,
Yeah, it's lovely.
beautiful. Anyway,
You can see muckish there. Way
Oh,
in the
yes,
distance. See the one
yes.
that's like muckish would be boar,
yes,
so the flat top on it.
I
And
do.
You'd have the cairn on top of that that you can't see from here, but if we were a bit closer there now, you'd see the cairn,
yeah.
and that is a cairn in honour of Maeve, the goddess
Maeve,
Maeve.
exactly. But even today, the light is just beautiful. The hills look as if they're in a mist.
Yeah,
It's like another world over there, isn't it?
sure is. Sure.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Sure, next time we're up, we can go up to the top of Muckish and
Yeah.
check out the cairn.
We'll have another chat, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Tom King is just after saying, great to get the planning permission for the sword there.
No problem, Tom.
No problem. Anyway, Sean, thanks a million. I so enjoyed the chat.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone who watched as well, of course.
Yeah, and thanks for meeting me, and thanks to everyone for watching in. So I'll see you soon. I have to drive back down to Meath now, guys, so
I'll take your time and have a wander around here.
I will. Actually, the drive up was amazing. I loved it. Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah, absolutely. You can see all the cairns and the undulating hills coming up through, where was I? Up through Monaghan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it starts getting wilder.
Yeah, and then it got wilder as we
Yeah.
came in, but you know what I mean? But up here, oh. I mean, this whole hill is covered in heather.
It is. It's beautiful.
It's
isn't it?
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, that's it. Say goodbye to Sean. Thank you, Sean. And I'll see you soon, guys. And thanks for watching in. Bye.